Well, good afternoon to our friends, our followers virtually. You must be worried about what's happening out in the Atlantic, looking from your your natural point of view. But we have the expert today to take us into what's happening out there in the Atlantic, what you're seeing. Some of you would have probably Googled National Hurricane Center and came up with those pictures out there and wondering what's happening. So this afternoon, we will know what's happening in our neck of the woods for the next few days and beyond, because we have with us this afternoon none other than meteorologist Mr. Lenard Josiah. Mr. Josiah, welcome to Whispering Hope Weather Update. Take it away.
Yeah, man, good afternoon to you, my brother, and good afternoon to the listening public. We definitely have a lot of talk about this afternoon. We continue to monitor the progress, and the whole objective and the goal of what we are doing here is to ensure that we keep you updated with the relevant information, that you can make the requisite decisions and that you can make the necessary preparedness. Even though in a general context that you should have already been prepared, but yet still a part of your overall preparedness is how you respond, so that in this particular area, so that information is necessary for your general preparedness, definitely. So we continue to monitor the progress this afternoon of the tropics. Let me go straight on into it. Let me even begin to share my screen, because I know that we have a lot to talk about this afternoon. So this is what we are looking at in the general context. We have two areas of disturbed weather. One, which is AL97, that is located just about a couple miles out from the Windward Islands. It's a tropical wave that's approaching the Windward Islands, producing a large areas of showers and thunderstorm activity. Now, this area of disturbed weather is racing off towards the west, so it's likely to move on through the Windward Islands tonight. The good thing about it is that the fast forward motion of this particular feature is not allowing it to wrap itself up. So it will go through the southern Windward Islands today as a tropical wave, or a strong tropical wave, bringing some gusty conditions and some squally conditions to those areas. But regardless of development, we're still anticipating locally heavy rainfall and strong gusty winds to be expected over portions of the Windward Islands tonight, going on into tomorrow. The thing about it is that even though it has a 20% chance of developing within the next 48 hours, those individuals such as Jamaica and even further towards the west, they would really want to pay close attention to it, because as it moves on towards the west, it's likely to slow itself down and come under some favorable atmospheric conditions. The National Hurricane Center is suggesting that there is a greater chance that tropical cyclone formation will take place out of this particular area further towards the west. So areas such as the northern parts of Cuba, even some parts of Central America, the Cayman Islands, Jamaica, you would certainly have to watch this particular area as it moves on towards the west. The models recurve it out over the western parts of Florida in the next couple of days. So there is a general feeling that as the chances grow for development, we can be looking at a tropical cyclone coming out of this particular area. But the main area that we're focusing on is this area towards the east. It is a tropical disturbance. Now it has 70% chance of becoming a tropical cyclone in the next 5 days. This is the area that continues to worry our nationals, and I can understand why. So I will be going through that in just a minute. But let's give you just a snapshot as to what the cloudiness and the showers and the organization of AL97 is. Here is Antigua and Barbuda in this general location. Let's annotate it rather quickly. Right here, this is Antigua and Barbuda in this general location right here. Barbados is right inside this general location here. Trinidad and Tobago, we are down here. And you can see all these clouds moving on towards the west. Okay, and it is expected to move on towards the west All these clouds and the showers bringing some moderate to heavy downpours over the Windward Islands, and some potential for and it's a potential flood maker. So you can understand and appreciate, not only for tonight but going on into tomorrow, they have considerable cloudiness to scale, and those island chains will receive above normal cloudiness and showers, and increased chance of thunderstorm activity and some gusty winds moving on them by them tomorrow. For us in Antigua and Barbuda, the forecast is really not for these clouds to reach towards the north. We have some drier atmospheric conditions, mostly towards the north. And if I quickly can show can show that, here is what we call our precipitable water, and down here is the area that we are looking at in terms of the turning down at the Windward Islands. But take a look at this dry dome of air that's funneling over Antigua and Barbuda. We don't anticipate that being a good rainmaker for us. The drier atmospheric and the low moisture content is forecast to stay with us tonight and into tomorrow. And my colleague Cecil Matthews suggests that there will be only a 20% chance of a shower. Now, let's turn our attention to what matters really most to us, and it is this particular area of disturbed weather out in the tropical Atlantic. Give me a minute, I'm going to be getting to that right now. Okay, so the National Hurricane Center is suggesting that there are two spots of bother with respect to this particular area. Let me go straight on into showing you the screen, so you can see exactly where it's at. The area that we are mostly concerned about is this particular area right here. Already there are signs of good organization into it. It has some circulation going on into it. There is another area of low pressure out towards the east. These two areas are very close. And what the National Hurricane Center is saying, that over the next few hours, both of these areas will merge themselves together and become one massive gyre out there in the eastern tropical Atlantic. And they are forecasting that it will consolidate itself around this main spot right here. And this main spot over the next few days will track off towards the west-northwest, and it will increase the threat to us here in Antigua and Barbuda. What should we be doing right now? We should be paying very close attention to future updates coming out of the Met Office, because there's a very strong likelihood that we will see tropical cyclone formation forming out of that area. Now, let's talk a little bit more about what you're seeing here with respect to this red. This red suggests that somewhere within the hatched area, that a tropical cyclone could form someplace within the hatched area. The tropical cyclone could form someplace to the north and move on towards the north, as what the European model is saying. And there's some other models, such as the United States model, is suggesting that it can take a more southerly track right inside here. So you can understand that Antigua and Barbuda, perched right in this spot right here, is really under the gun of the potential of a tropical cyclone further during the course of this week. I would not necessarily want to be too specific with respect to what the outcome is, whether or not it will be a depression or tropical storm or hurricane, but suffice it to say that we are certainly looking at the possibility of us having a tropical cyclone someplace in the vicinity come the latter half of this particular week. Now, here is something that I know that you might find very interesting, and just as what I just mentioned just a few minutes ago before I wrap it up, this is what we call our European model. As you can see, this particular area is the tropical storm, which has cleared Antigua and stayed north. The GFS, on the other hand, let's see if we can do that quickly. The GFS, on the other hand, is suggesting that look where it shows itself up instead. It shows itself up someplace down here on Saturday morning. Okay, now here is what this is basically saying. Either between one or two of these models, they are either forecasting this particular system to move faster than the other. And the fast movement, as what the European model is suggesting, will encounter a weakness in the Atlantic high and pull itself further towards the north. What the US model is saying, that it will move slower and it come a little bit more south and impact us. It's just for us to wait and see what takes place, whether or not these two models can rectify the differences between them and consolidate themselves. My brother, this is one particular feature that we will be paying close attention to during the next couple of days.
It's projected to become a tropical storm in the next few days. What is it, the potential of it transitioning from tropical storm into a hurricane, gaining enough strength between where it is now and by the time it gets to the islands themselves, are within 100 miles, 200 miles from the islands? What's the potential of it becoming a hurricane?
There is still a moderate chance of it becoming a hurricane. Okay, but I would not necessarily want to play around so much with the specifics with respect to intensity just as yet, because it still has
until it's yes.
Well, right, because you see, it has not formed officially, and because it has not formed, for us to latch on to a center, it's just not there as yet. What I would really want for us to do is to be very mindful that the track forecasting, which is a little bit more reliable than the intensity forecast, would suggest that we are looking at a potential tropical cyclone in our vicinity. But I do understand what you're basically asking. What's the potential? The potential, we do have a moderate chance of us seeing a strong tropical storm or minimal hurricane within the area. But for right now, we are going to be playing it rather safe until it forms, for us to be more specific with respect to the potential or the intensity of this particular feature. So yes, there is a potential of it becoming a hurricane, but at this stage, I would not want to be too specific with respect to the intensity. But suffice it to say, we are looking at the likelihood of an area of disturbed weather, few hundred miles out there, is forecast to come across us as a tropical cyclone.
Fair enough, fair enough. Following the science, you have to make sure it's taken one step to the next. Then you can make a determination after it develops, probably from a tropical wave.
Well, you know, my brother, and here is one of the reasons why, because it's still somewhat of, let's say, if by its passage date, someplace Friday into Saturday, that's almost like 5 days out. When we're looking at such timelines out there, then the error margin is much larger for 5-day spread. So you would not necessarily want to be too specific with respect to a 5-day spread. The information that we have, which I can, yes, I can tell you, but I prefer not to at this stage. But the information that we do have at the Met Office does suggest a potential tropical cyclone. But at the same time, the error margin of what we are seeing is large. So we would not want to be so specific based upon a large error margin. We want to see some more consolidation, and as time progresses, it will become clearer over time.
Fair enough. I followed you as you were looking at both systems. What I did not clearly, if the potential of the first tropical, actually tropical wave moving into the Caribbean Sea and becoming a tropical storm. That's what you basically alluding to?
Yes, the first tropical wave is likely to pass through the Windward Islands tonight as a strong tropical wave, enter into the Eastern Caribbean Sea and move further towards the west. There is some potential for it to develop because, as the National Hurricane Center suggests, that it will slow itself down a little bit, and it will be engulfed with more favorable atmospheric conditions. As it does so, there is a potential for tropical cyclone formation out of the first one. So we're looking at a potential for 2 tropical cyclones during the latter half of this week. What will happen is a wait and see. but the models are suggesting that we can have potential tropical cyclones, and individuals should stay on top of these situations and make sure that they are prepared.
I also get that you're saying that we should have been prepared, as we were advocating from the first week of the hurricane season. But if you're not prepared, considering what's happening now and what will continue to happen in the next few weeks, or probably 2 months, we should be even more prepared.
We should even be more prepared. As a matter of fact, that we should have been prepared a long time ago. And what we should be doing right now with that level of preparation, we should be in the mode of listening, following your more trusted weather source, and ensure that you are informed with respect to the true information and the right information for you to make those decisions. So this is the stage where we want individuals to ensure that you monitor very closely and pay close attention to the changes and the information that is put out by our National Meteorological Center.
Okay, so Mr. Josiah, I just want to say thanks again for coming by this afternoon and for giving us such a comprehensive report on the weather as it stands now in the Atlantic and projecting into the next 5 days that we should be prepared and based on the uncertainty that lies ahead. It's too early to call, but nonetheless not too early to prepare. Thank you once again. God bless you and have a productive evening.
That's right. Thank you so much, my brother. And we stay in contact, and we certainly come back tomorrow with some added information.
Absolutely.
Great stuff.